Your Excellency, the Acting President of Mauritius, Mr. Paravasum Pile Viarapoy, Mr. Alan Ibobwasi, the CEO of Africa 50, Mr. Amadou Hott, the Vice President of Power, Energy and Green Growth and Climate at the African Development Bank, Mr. Sunil Belimadu, the CEO of the Stock Exchange of Mauritius, Honourable Ministers, strategic partners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular pleasure to welcome you here today on behalf of Africa Investor to the 4th AI CEO Infrastructure Project Developers Summit and Awards held in association with Africa 50. As an organisation operating uniquely at the epicenter of the institutional investment community, governments, development finance institutions and public-private project developers, AI is both privileged and fortunate to have this opportunity to pioneer the first of its kind platform for African project developers over the last 3 years. We've brought together the African project development community, early stage financiers, and all key stakeholders in the ecosystem to explore co-development as well as co-investment partnerships. In that vein, we are delighted to have already made an impact and contributed to the marked increase in venture and private equity style investment into African commercial project development platforms for both international and domestic investors as well as institutional investors. We're naturally pleased to host this event as we are each year with the continent's leading infrastructure project development and investment platform, Africa 50. I think we were just speaking earlier upstairs with His Excellency the President, and I can assure the country that by becoming a shareholder in Africa 50, you're in impeccable hands under the leadership of Mr. Alan Ibobwasi, one of the continent's leading investment authorities. In addition, I'm pleased to continue and deepen our long-standing partnership with the African Development Bank, and we look forward to supporting their upcoming Africa Investment Forum that will be hosted in Johannesburg in November this year. But in keeping with today's theme, putting financial close first, we're really seeking to build on the key recommendation that was highlighted at last year's summit, which is essentially that one of the biggest constraints for private capital and institutional capital to flow to project development companies is the low number and low frequency of projects reaching financial close. So we therefore recognize the need for public-private collaboration to reprioritize financial close and make that a real priority, because as more projects reach an accelerated financial close, that's going to be a critical indicator to private capital that the continent's early stage commercial project development industry represents a sound and measured investment opportunity. Distinguished guests, today's summit is really therefore going to focus on facilitating a dynamic public-private sector dialogue on how to reprioritize and fast-track financial close. And it's going to be a critical stimulant, we believe, in terms of facilitating the number of early-stage greenfield projects and also the developers that can actually attract and mobilize private and institutional capital over time. This is a catalytic issue for the continent, because as the project development cycle grows and more projects reach financial close, so does our ability to unlock our human and economic potential to accelerate development and global trade and increase Africa's competitiveness on the global stage through this type of infrastructure development. A key part of the summit's dialogue will be driven by the preliminary findings of the 2018 Africa Project Developers Forum Benchmarking Survey, which was developed with technical support from AI Capital and the Global Clearinghouse for Development Finance. Barbara Samuels, a great organization, long-standing partner of ours. The survey is available today to be downloaded on the app, so hopefully all of you are paperless and environmentally friendly and just accessing the app for all of your guidance today, and the survey will be there. But there are 2 questionnaires, so it's delineated by constituency, one for institutional investors and the other for project developers. So we have a great program for you today with over 40 authoritative speakers. Obviously, as I mentioned, the survey findings, and we have in the afternoon the AI Africa 50 Energy Leaders Summit, as well as as Barbara mentioned, our annual Infrastructure Investment and Project Developers Awards that will be presented during the course of the summit. So in closing, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank Africa 50 and the African Development Bank for co-hosting this summit with us, and all the partners that hopefully you'll see on the brochure that's in the app, especially Mahlati Quantity Surveyors and the Benengi Group. So without further ado, I would like to ask you to rise, please, as I invite His Excellency, the Acting President of Mauritius, to deliver his keynote address. Thank you very much.
Doing business in Africa, you can't afford to be without Africa Investor.